the foul-smelling liquid that replaces $1,000 in commercial fertilizer. While you spend $1,000 per season on fertilizer, the forest next to your land feeds 1,000 species with $0, zero chemicals, and zero humiliation at the farm supply counter. That is not a coincidence. It is a calculated crime of omission. There is a liquid. It smells like hell. It bubbles like something alive, because it is alive. And it was deliberately erased from modern manuals because anyone who learns to make it never needs to buy fertilizer again. This is what you will learn today. It costs nothing, it is ancient, it is Asian, and it is more powerful than anything sitting on a store shelf. Let me explain the chemical fraud that has been committed against you. In the 1950s manuals that guerrilla agronomists preserved like relics, Korean, Japanese, and Brazilian researchers were already documenting something disturbing. For every pound of synthetic nitrogen applied to the soil, the microbial population collapsed in a cascade. Not weakened, collapsed. What the petrochemical industry sold as the Green Revolution was, in reality, a long-term biological ICU. You apply NPK, the plant responds in a growth spasm, and meanwhile the soil food web, mycorrhizal fungi, nitrifying bacteria, beneficial nematodes, actinomycetes, dies silently, centimeter by centimeter. The result? You need more and more chemical input to get the same response. It is exactly the model of addiction. The plant loses the nature's software that connected it to the soil. And you, farmer, grower, gardener, you become a chronic dependent of an industry whose entire business model requires your inability to feed yourself without them. Meanwhile, the forest operates on a radically different logic. In the organic horizon of the forest, that dark, moist, dense layer beneath the dead leaves, something happens that biochemistry calls natural chelation. Minerals locked inside clay and rock matrices are released by organic acids produced by fungi and roots. Manganese, iron, zinc, copper, all available, all free, all produced by the ecosystem itself with no petrochemical intermediary. The redox potential of forest soil stays in perfect electrochemical balance, not too oxidized, not too reduced. This ensures that enzymatic reactions happen at peak efficiency. It is precision engineering that took millions of years to calibrate, and that NPK destroys in a single season of aggressive application. The right question was never, which fertilizer should I buy? The right question was always, how do I reactivate what is already in the soil? This is where the JADAM method comes in. JADAM, Japanese agricultural movement, is a methodology developed by South Korean agronomist Cho Han-kyu, derived from Hanbaksa, the ancestral agricultural knowledge of East Asia. But what I'm about to show you is more than a recipe. It is a farmer's technical emancipation. Local plant material, anything. Invasive weeds, fallen dead leaves, clearing leftovers, bamboo foliage, ferns, tall grass, sedge. The more species diversity, the better. The forest does not choose, it uses everything. Spring water or rainwater, never tap water. Residual chlorine is a biocide. It kills precisely what you are trying to cultivate. If tap water is your only option, leave it in an open container for 24 hours to off gas. Sub-forest soil, one handful, no more. This soil carries the inoculant. Microorganisms native to your region, adapted to your climate, your soil. This is the reactor's starter culture. No laboratory-imported microorganism will ever match their efficiency. That is all. No molasses, no sugar, no purchased additive. The JADAM method in its purest form works only with what local nature produces. Step 1. Collect and prepare the plant material. Gather green and dry material in an approximate 2:1 ratio, 2 volumes of fresh material for every one of dry. The technical reason: fresh material supplies soluble sugars for the initial microbial colony, dry material supplies cellulose and lignin for long-duration fermentation and humic acid production. Step 2. Load the bucket. In a dark plastic bucket of 5 or 15 gallons, compact the plant material until it fills 2/3 of the volume. Add the handful of subforest soil directly on top of the biomass. Cover with water until all the plant material is fully submerged. Step 3. Seal with gas control. cover the bucket with a cloth or a lid with a small opening. JADAM fermentation is anaerobic. Without oxygen, microorganisms shift their metabolism and begin producing the biochemical arsenal we are after. If the bucket is completely sealed with no gas escape, the pressure of produced gases can rupture the container. A cloth held by a rubber band solves this perfectly. Step 4. The time of decomposition. This is where the Western mindset stumbles. The process looks wrong. It looks like failure. The liquid will darken. The smell will worsen progressively into something between swamp, barnyard, and deep organic decay, because that is exactly what it is. In tropical regions like mine, with ambient temperatures between 77 degrees and 95 degrees, the process takes 7 to 21 days. In colder climates, it may take 30 days or more. Step 5. The reactor's success signals. Here is what modern manuals do not teach you, because modern manuals were not written for your autonomy. Active bubbling in the first 3 to 5 days indicates anaerobic fermentation in progress, CO2 and organic acid production. Green light. Dark brown to black coloration, extraction of humic compounds and tannins from the plant biomass. The darker, the higher the concentration of soluble organic matter. Surface layer with iridescent films. Colonies of lactobacillus and actinomycetes forming a biofilm. This is the most valuable signal. It means the metabolic shield is forming. The microorganisms that will protect your plants from soil pathogens are being multiplied for free. Sharp acidic smell with notes of alcoholic fermentation indicates production of lactic, acetic, and humic acids. Exactly what you want. No green, blue, or pink mold. If contaminating fungi appear, it signals aerobiosis. The material was too exposed to air. Discard and restart with more careful sealing. The raw concentrate is never applied undiluted. The standard JADAM dilution is 120 to 1,500, depending on the growth stage of plants and soil sensitivity. For foliar application on established plants, 1,500 dilution. 1 liter of concentrate produces 500 liters of ready-to-use biofertilizer. Read that again. 500 liters of fertilizer from a single bucket of fermented weeds. For direct soil application on developing plants, 120 to 150. Water preferably at dusk to prevent UV destruction of the microorganisms. For inoculating new beds, degraded, compacted, lifeless soils, apply the undiluted concentrate, or 1.5 ratio, and cover with straw to maintain moisture. The microbial colony will recolonize the soil within 30 to 60 days. You will not need lime, gypsum, or pH correctors. The organic acids in JADAM carry out natural chelation and gradually adjust the soil's redox potential on their own. Let me tell you what really happened over the last 70 years. The so-called Green Revolution was not a revolution. It was a transfer of dependency. You moved out of dependency on the weather and into dependency on the petrochemical industry. You traded the unpredictability of rain for the monthly certainty of an invoice from the input distributor. They sold you NPK as progress, but progress for whom? The farmer who uses JADAM has no fertilizer invoice, no account at the distributor, no operating loan at the bank to pay for inputs. Their working capital is a bucket, water, and the weeds they were going to throw away. That is what I call technical emancipation. And that is exactly why this technology is not in the curriculum of agronomy schools funded by industry, not in the extension manuals sponsored by multinationals, not in the trade magazines whose advertisers are the very companies that sell the product JADAM makes obsolete. But it was, and still is, in the hands of Korean, Japanese, Cuban, and Indian farmers, in hand-drawn diagrams in school notebooks from the 1950s, in field notes with hatching indicating soil layers, with arrows showing the flow of nutrients back to the root. The forest always knew. The peoples who lived with the forest always knew. The knowledge was suppressed not because it was inefficient, but because it was too free to generate profit. Every bucket you ferment is a declaration of independence. Every application is an act of territorial sovereignty over your piece of land. Every plot of soil you recolonize with native microorganisms is a fragment of ecosystem you rescue from collapse. This is not gardening, this is not a hobby, this is guerrilla biotechnology. And it is within your reach today. with what you already have. The liquid stinks. The system it dismantles stinks worse. Make your bucket.